Good morning to you all. My name is Aryan Singh Rana, and in today's video, I'll be explaining you or showing you how to make a dynamic traffic light with the help of HTML, CSS, and JS. So this is the overview of our project. As you can see that it says that create the following traffic light using the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. When you click Control button, the relative button should glow, and the rest should be faded. So this is how the whole code would work. As you can see that we have been provided two traffic lights. One is a traffic light over here, and this is the controller pole, as it has been named over here as well. So what we need to do is that whenever we click on one of the buttons in the controller pole, then the respective color should glow in the traffic light. So as you can see that in the first we are seeing after clicking on red control button, only the red light will glow with a dark red color. So as you can see that we clicked on this and the red light is glowing, and similarly if we click on a green light, then the green light is glowing and rest of the colors are not glowing. So it is a pretty simple code to make. So here's the code. As you can see that this is the HTML portion of my whole code. So as you can see that I've named it working traffic lights. So you can see here I have made a div parent class first, and the div parent class would do is that it would contain the elements of the traffic light and the elements of the controller pole. So as you can see that the div parent class contains all of it. As you can see that the div parent with class parent starts from here and ends here. So as you can see that after that I created two separate divs, one for the main traffic light and another for the controller side. So as you can see that this is my div for the main light. It contains it contains four div tags, which are div id light, and within the div id light there are three div tags which are with the id red, yellow, and green. After that it also contains another div tag which is for the pole of the traffic light. After that, this is the controller side. As you can see that I have named it as the controller side. It contains again four to five div tags. One is for the lights of the controller side. So this div with the class controller contains three div tags which are for the lights in the controller pole. So as you can see that, sorry, not div tag, it's button tag, because I am using buttons to change the light of the traffic light. So as you can see that I have inserted three button tags inside the controller div tag, and as I mentioned, controller div tag is representing the body of the controller side. Now after that, within the controller side div tag, there is a pole for there's a div tag for the pole of the for the controller side. So this is the div tag for the controller side. Now as you can see that it ends over here. This is the ending tag for the parent with the parent div tag, and the last is the div for the main line. As you can see that in the assignment in the image, you can see that there is a main line over here. So this represents that line. Now I'll come to the JavaScript part a bit later. Now first let me show you how I did the styling in this. So let me first start my live server to show how it's looking. So as you can see that it's looking like this. Just a second, let me make it full screen. Yes, as you can see that this is how it is looking. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explain the CSS portion now. So I used the dot selector over here or class selector over here and selected the parent. Now, as I told you, the parent contains both the div, both the tags, the div for the main traffic light and the div tag for the which contains the controller side and poles, respective poles for them. So as you can see that I used display flex over here, which would convert the child tag from inline to block level. Sorry, it's from block level to inline. And after that, I use justify contact to space in between. Now, what would happen? The parent class contains two div tags, and those two div tags are for traffic light and the controller side. Now, as you can see that in the picture, they both are aside, and there is a gap in between them. So what I'm doing, as you can see that the portion which includes this whole portion, which I'm using to show you through my cursor, as you can see that this whole portion is within the traffic light div tag, and this whole portion is within the div tag with controller side name. So these two div tags are the child for the main parent tag. So the justify content, the CSS styling, which is justify content space between, would apply for these two components only, and the components within them would also get shifted to either side of the web page. If I remove this, it would be much clearer. As you can see that now these are both are attached, because the first traffic light is within the main light, which is within the div tag with the class name main light, and the second traffic light is within the controller side with the class name controller side div tag. So if I use the space between over here, it would create a space between both the child tags within the parent. As you can see that now it's fixed. So after that, now coming to the light portion. Now the light portion is the formatting this whole light traffic light portion over here, as you can see that. So I simply first I use the border and use this color code over here, and the background color is the same color code. After that, I used border radius to make it a bit rounder, because if I do not use border radius, then it is a complete square block. As you can see that it is a complete square block. That's why I used border radius over here to make it a bit round here from the corners. Now after that, I simply specified its height and width. As you can see that these are the respective value for the height and width. After that, as you can see that I've used a ID selector, then an angular symbol, and then star. What it represents that, it means that select the div tag with the ID. Sorry, select the element with the ID light, and this angular symbol represents its child or its children. So it would select all the children. So it means that within that element, I want to select a specific children, but I used a star over here. It means that it would select all the children within the element with the ID light. So that's why what these two symbol, this angular and star represents. Angular represents that we are selecting for the children or the child within the light, within the element with the ID light, and this star represents that I want to select all the child or the children within the element with the ID light. Now, this would select all the div tags, as you can see that it would select all the div tags which are from here till here. As you can see that this is the div ID, div with the ID light, and these are its children, which are three div tags with the ID red, yellow, and green. So this command will select all of them. Now, what I am doing over here is that I am simply making these div tag. I'm giving the div tag those parameters to make it look like a circular light and giving it a background color. So as you can see that first I need to position them to make it look like center. As you can see that as this block within this block, these three light are in the position of center. So I need to position them using margin top and margin left. So the margin top would increase the margin for each light from the top, and the margin left would increase the margin of each light from the left. So if I used it like one, it would shift as you can see, it has shifted towards the left because the margin is of 1 pixel now. So that's why I used margin of size 14 to center it. After that, these are the height and the width for the whole, for each and every light. So as I told you, all the childs are selected. So whatever formatting I'm applying over here would be applied to all three childs. So the height would be of 100 and width would be of 100, and border radius is of 100 pixel. So if as you can observe that to obtain a perfect circle using the large amount of border radius, we need to keep the height and width equal, because as we know that a circle in any direction, these circle's height and width is always equal. So that's why I used 100 pixel for both height and width to make it a complete circle. Because if I make it something like let's say 10, then see what would happen. As you can see that now this is not a circle, it would make a rectangle with the height 100 and width 10, and it would simply round it around those corners. So that's why I used 100 over here to make it look like a perfect circle. After that, I gave them the default color gray so that they look a bit faded. Now, after that, this is the CSS styling for the pole light. Now, in this, as you can see that I first created its border and gave it height and width. So this is the height for the pole of the traffic light, and this is the width for the pole of the traffic light. And after that, I am simply shifting it towards the left, because if I don't do this, then it would stick to the left side of the string. So I am increasing the margin of the pole, left side margin of the pole, so it would shift it towards left. So if I just a second. So if I do it like this, then as you can see that the pole is towards the left side of the string. I need to bring it to just below the traffic light in the center. So that's why I'm using a specific pixel amount to make it center. As you can see that now it is in center. After that comes the controller side of the pole. The whole thing is similar. Just the difference is that inside the child, there is a button inside instead of div tag. So the formatting is pretty similar over here. Uh, yes, as you can see that this formatting is pretty similar. Now, as you can see that I have also added hover animations over here. This is the state. It means that whenever I put my cursor over one of these buttons, then a specific formatting would be applied. So as you can see that I used hover over here. And also, as you can notice that the pointer size, the cursor shape also changes when I move towards the button. As you can see that now it has converted to a pointer, of the pointer, or you can say the figure like this. And if I move away from any of the button, then it is normal cursor or pointer. So as you can see that it has been applied for both of or three of these lights. So what made it possible is using this CSS styling over here, which is cursor is equal to point cursor and key value is pointer. It means that whenever we place our cursor or pointer on the child elements of the div tag with the class name controller, then it would change its shape to this. As you can see that it is changing its shape. Now, after that, the hover animation, I forgot. I told you about the hover animation. So as you can see that the buttons class is red con and yellow con and green con. Representing that it represents the that we are selecting the buttons that are inside the controller side of the tag, controller side tag. So what I am doing, I use the class selector redcon, and this is the pseudo class hover. So whenever I place my cursor on one of the three buttons, then these formatting would be applied. As you can see that the color would become red, and the box shadow. Now I use the box shadow with the blur level as 200 pixel, and the blur color would be red as the glow to give it a glow effect. Similarly, for the rest of the two lights, after that, I simply did the formatting for the controller side of the pole for the controller side. It is similar to the pole of the traffic light. Now, at the end, I formatted for the main line. So, as you can see that this is the main line. And as I told you, the main line is outside the div with the class parent tag. So, it means that display flex won't be applied to this main line over here. So the mainline formatting is pretty simple. I simply increase its width till it reaches the pole of the both traffic light and controller side, and the color is same as the both of the poles and the lights itself. Now coming to the JS part, as you can see that I use DOM over here inside the script tag. So I first created a function which is light up, and how this function would be triggered. As you can see that inside the button for the controller sides, I used on click event listener, which means that whenever I click on the button inside the controller tag, it would initiate this function light up function with the parameter as red passed inside it. So as you can see that this is my function. So every time we click on a button, the on click event listener would activate and it would initiate this function. So the parameter, it would receive respective parameters. So as you can see that for the red, it would send red text. For the green, for the yellow button, it would send yellow string, and for the green button, it would send green. So this is a simple JavaScript function. As you can see that this is the function, this is the parameter color. So first I created three variables which would select the elements by ID, which is red, yellow, and green. As I told you, the lights inside the traffic light side of the div tag, sorry, the traffic light div tag, I used ID as I told you as red, yellow, and green. So document.get element by ID would select these three div tags respectively. So the const red variable would store the element red, would store the element with the ID red, which means the this div tag within the main light this div tag. So similarly for the these two, which is green and yellow. So we are simply checking if the function receives the string red. It means that we are clicking on the red button on the controller side. So the as it is mentioned in the control in the as in the file over here, whenever we click on the color, the respective color should glow on the traffic light. So as you can see that the if the red button is entered, the on-click function would trigger this on-click event listener would trigger this function and pass as a string. So it would check if the string that has been inputted is red. So if it is red, then what would happen? Then I'm applying different styles to make it glow into red color. So as you can see that I use the red variable that is storing the element with the ID red, and it would apply styles dot background color red, so it would make it red. After that, this box shadow over here, this box shadow, what is doing? It is giving the glow effect to the it is giving the glow effect to the red light. So I used around three box shadows to make the blurriness a bit more consistent, or you can say a bit to give it a more glowy effect. Because if I use a single box shadow, then it would be a bit more transparent glow effect, similar to like this. As you can see that the glow effect is very less. But if I use this over here, as you can see, the blurriness inside over here is very you can say the very more much more than the glowness of this button. So to achieve this, I used multiple box shadows. As you can see that this is the first box shadow with the positioning of the box shadow would be remain 0 pixel 0 pixel. It means that it would originate from the origin itself, and the box shadow won't be shifted towards left, right, or top and bottom. This 200 pixel represents the blurriness, and this is the color of the blur. And similarly, as you can see that this is the second box shadow, and this is the third box shadow. After that, as you can see that if I click on red button, then the red would lit up. If I click on yellow button, the yellow would click up. The yellow light would glow, but the red light would turn back to default, which is gray. And if I click on green, then it would turn the yellow light off, and you can say that it would return to the default state, which is was gray, and it would lit up the green light. And if I directly click on red light, then similarly would happen to the green light. Now, how is that happening? It's happening because I am in each and every if else case, I am first making the light respective light glow, and then making the rest of the two lights change back to the default state. So how I am achieving that? As you can see that I change the changed back the yellow color. If the yellow was lit, then it would change. And if the previously the yellow was lit, yellow light was lit up, and I then click on the control side, I click on the red button, red light button, then what would happen? It would first make the red light glow, then it would take the the element within the yellow variable and change its background color to gray, border color to gray, and box shadow to none. So as I told, as you can see that for to make a light glow, we are first changing its background color, then the border color, and then the box shadow. So for us to take them to the default state, we need to set these three attributes to the default state as well. So as you can see that the background color for the yellow, the border color for the yellow, and the box shadow for the yellow would be applied as gray, gray, and none. Similarly for the green light. And if the other command is else if the input string that we are getting is yellow, then it would make the yellow color glow with these three commands, and it would turn the rest of the true lights into default state by these six commands. and three commands each for red and three commands for green, which would make turn back in them into the default state. Now, this is the else statement for the green light, because if the input string is neither red nor yellow, then of course it would be green. That's why it is in the else block. And the similarly same scripting has been done for the green light as well. So that's all for the whole code. As you can see that my code is running just fine, and it has not given me any error. There is no misbehaving of the web page. So, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.